Welcome back to another amazing video from Ape Recaps. Today, we will recap an American sports comedy film called Like Mike from 2002. The film is about Calvin, an orphan who finds a pair of old shoes with the letters MJ inscribed on them. When he tries to reach for them, he is struck by lightning that renders him with superb basketball prowess. After possessing the necessary basketball powers, he has the chance to play for the NBA. What kind of powers did he gain? Will he be able to play for the NBA with his powers? Let's find out. But before we begin, beware of spoilers. Watch out and take care. And I hope you enjoy the video. The film opens with Calvin Cambridge and his two best friends, Murph and Reg Stevens, who live in an orphanage. Murph is the youngest of the trio and has a very close bond with Calvin. Calvin is playing basketball with his friend in the yard of the orphanage group home they live in. They play peacefully until a group of bullies intervenes. The leader of the group, Ox, challenges Calvin to a game of basketball. He tells Calvin that he can keep his favorite basketball jersey if he wins, but if Calvin loses the game, Ox will get the basketball jersey. Ox easily beats Calvin in the game because Ox is taller than Calvin. After winning the basketball jersey, he wears it but instantly rips it apart. Then, the director of the group home, named Stan Biddleman, walks in and informs them that they're going to the local sports arena. But it's revealed that they all have to sell chocolate for the troublesome orphanage director. They try their best to sell the chocolate, but people just keep ignoring them and pass by them without buying any chocolate. Calvin and Murph look at the game from outside and witness their favorite team, the Los Angeles Knights, a fictional team, play. They see that the Knights are losing very badly, and they get very sad. Calvin spots the team's coach, who is sitting in the car. He decides to approach him in hopes of selling the chocolates and discussing basketball. He is impressed by Calvin's knowledge of basketball once both of them start to talk. He even gives Calvin $20 for the chocolate, but he doesn't take it, mentioning that their orphan director will not do anything good with it. However, he thinks there is something in Calvin, so he offers Calvin tickets for the next game, and Calvin obviously takes them without a second thought. Later on, many parents visit the orphanage in order to adopt orphans, and a glimmer of hope appears for Calvin, as he thinks that maybe today he will get to go home. But Ox explains that every parent there is only interested in younger kids, and that no one would adopt kids his age, a fact that saddens him very much. Outside, all of them are sitting when a nun comes and gives them a box. Inside a thrift store donation box, Calvin finds a pair of old sneakers, and he instantly claims them. He wears them while asking the nun about what she knows about the shoes. She explains that the man who gave them these shoes said that they belonged to a famous basketball player. Calvin notices that the shoes have the initials MJ written on them, meaning that they were once worn by none other than Michael Jordan. Ox gets very jealous when he senses that Calvin got something more valuable than him. He snatches the sneakers from Calvin and ties the shoelaces together. Then he throws them onto an overhead power line so that Calvin is not able to get them. Late at night, Calvin wakes up, as it is a stormy night. He also wakes up Murph and says that he cannot stop thinking about the shoes that are on the power lines. Calvin thinks that this is a golden opportunity, since everyone is asleep, and Ox would not take it from him again. He tells Murph that he is going out there and taking the shoes back no matter what the circumstances are. He somehow convinces Murph to go out with him and help him retrieve the sneakers. Calvin climbs a tree and goes on a branch that is near the power line. He tries to reach the sneakers, but suddenly, lightning strikes the shoes as Calvin takes a fall with the shoes in his hand. Once on the ground, he notices that the shoes seem to be charged with lightning. Calvin, Murph, and some of his other friends decide that they will not sell chocolate. Instead, they decide that they will go and pick up the tickets that Calvin got from the coach. When they get the tickets, Ox once again gets very jealous and angry while threatening by saying that he will snitch on them. But Calvin calms him down by showing him the tickets he just got and telling him that he will give one of the tickets to him. Calvin and his friends attend the basketball game between the Knights and the Minnesota Timberwolves. After the second quarter ends, the team's star player, Tracy Reynolds, is convinced by the coach to go for a halftime. They spin the numbers that are on the tickets randomly, and whoever has the number on the ticket gets to come down and play with Tracy, and they will also get prizes according to their score. Calvin's ticket number is called. He tries to go down there, but Ox, yet again, gets jealous and tries to snatch the ticket from Calvin so that he can go down there and play with Tracy and get the prizes. But Calvin somehow manages to take back his ticket and proceeds to go down in order to play one-on-one with Tracy. He meets Tracy and says that he is a very big fan of him and his team. Calvin manages to score all 3 baskets against him. Calvin ends the contest with a slam dunk after bouncing the ball off the backboard. Tracy is very embarrassed after losing to a kid, while the rest of the audience is too stunned to speak. Calvin then receives a standing ovation from Reg and the crowd. Later on, the man that runs publicity for the team goes to see Biddleman, who is waiting outside. They all come back to the orphanage and talk about Calvin. They agree that Calvin will play with the Knights for just 1 day, and they will give Biddleman a substantial amount of money. Biddleman instantly agrees on these terms. Outside, Calvin tells his friends about the 1-day contract and also the secret of how he played so well against Tracy. He explains that he played like that because of the sneaker that he retrieved earlier. Ox listens to everything, while Calvin also gives them demonstrations and plays very well while wearing the sneakers. The next day, he goes there to play with the Knights. He enters the room and he is given an official team uniform alongside a new pair of sneakers, which is a large problem for Calvin since his sneakers are the only reason he can play well. He tries to explain to the coach that he needs his sneakers to play and he can't play in the ones that they gave him. He says he is not comfortable without his own sneakers, but the coach says that he is going out there just for the sake of the audience. There is indeed more audience than usual, and they are there just to kill their curiosity about Calvin playing at night. During their match, they are once again losing the game and are clueless as to what they should do to win this game. Calvin pops up and suggests that they should let him play with them. The coach agrees on this and informs the team that Calvin will be playing with them. Calvin is not able to play at first, and he's nervous because he is not wearing his sneakers. He calls timeout and runs in the locker room in order to get his sneakers. He comes back with his shoes and he starts to play better. He helps the entire team score more goals, and in the end, the team wins the match due to Calvin. This victory results in Calvin getting a season contract as everyone is very happy with him, and they want him to play for them. Calvin goes back to the orphanage where he packs his stuff. Biddleman confronts him and tells him that the parents would only like to adopt him because he's famous. Then he reveals something troublesome. He says that no one can adopt Calvin as long as he is playing for the Knights because it was stated in the contract that Biddleman signed. On the plane to the hotel, the coach tells Tracy that he has a room with Calvin. Calvin is very excited to hear this, but Tracy feels the exact opposite. Calvin is amazed by the fancy hotel because he has never been exposed to such an environment. Tracy is going out for a date, and he tells Calvin to order room service and to keep himself busy while Tracy is out. Calvin gets excited and orders more food than he can eat. Tracy comes with a date only to discover that the room is all messed up and filled with half-eaten food. He gets somewhat angry at Calvin for pulling such a stunt. Calvin comes out as Tracy's date starts to take care of him. They go out again, and Calvin gets all of the attention rather than Tracy. They come back and decide to sleep, but Tracy is not able to because Calvin is snoring so loud that it keeps him awake all night, which results in him being exhausted in the morning when they need to play a game. The coach approaches Tracy and asks him about why he looks so tired. Before he can say anything, Calvin immediately tells the coach that Tracy and him were awake late at night while ordering food and hanging out with his girlfriend, which is why he seems to be tired. The coach even threatens Tracy that if he misses another curfew, he will have to fire him. Tracy becomes his mentor since Calvin is still a minor. Calvin brings teamwork to the Knights and makes them one of the best teams in the league. Later on, Tracy tells Calvin that he needs to go to the pharmacy to get some medication and sleeping pills. Calvin also comes with him uninvited. In the pharmacy, Tracy meets an attractive woman and accidentally eats the sleeping pills. While going back, Tracy falls asleep in the car. To get him to the hotel before curfew, Calvin starts to drive the car in a reckless way, but gets him to the hotel. The next day, another player walks by Tracy and informs him that Calvin has been suspended. Tracy figures out that Calvin took the blame. Tracy starts to respect Calvin because he got himself into trouble to make sure that Tracy didn't miss his curfew. Biddleman signs a contract with the team that all of Calvin's money will go to him until Calvin is 18 or adopted. When the second option is about to come true, Biddleman grows desperate, steals Calvin's shoes, and bets $100,000 US against the Knights. After the kids convince Ox and his cohorts that Biddleman is selfish, Ox takes the shoes out of Biddleman's safe. The kids head to the arena with Calvin's sneakers. Biddleman escapes and sends goons after Calvin in a failed attempt to retrieve the shoes. After the third quarter ends with Vince Carter and the Toronto Raptors routing the Knights 80-59, Calvin makes it back to the arena with the shoes. In the fourth and final quarter of the last regular season game, Calvin is put into the game by the coach, and the Knights start to make a comeback. After a pile-on towards the end of the game, Calvin's shoes are ruined, with the Knights trailing the Raptors 103-102. Without the shoes, and wanting to be a normal child, Calvin tells the team that, regardless of whether or not the Knights make the playoffs, it will be his last game. In the final play, Calvin manages to pump fake to get Carter to jump and pass the ball to Tracy. Tracy makes the game-winning shot at the final buzzer, and the Knights defeat the Raptors 104-103 to clinch their first playoff appearance. After going back to his orphanage, Calvin and Murph get adopted by Tracy, and Reg by a different family, although they stay in touch. Biddleman, not having the money to pay off the bet, goes into hiding, presumably to either avoid getting killed by his goons or to avoid getting arrested by the Los Angeles Police Department. And the orphanage is now sponsored by the Knights. Here, this movie ends. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and turn on notifications for our next video. Take care and see you next time.